Hi, welcome to SFG Cards and Craft. Today I want to show you this little panda card that I've done. Basically I've done it as a boy card in non-traditional boy colours. Just showing you the panel that I've pre-stamped the day before here, using the panda, and there's two lots of grass in the same stamp set that I'm actually using. This stamp set is actually Whimsy stamps, and it's called Baby Animals. I'm just using the balloon from this one. That's another Whimsy stamp set called Sketched Elephants. The colours I'm using here are Twisted Citron, Cracked Pistachio and Lucky Clover. Just making up a little panel here so I can actually die cut the word boy from it. It doesn't have to be perfect because most of it's not going to be seen. It's only just going to have the little letters cut from it. I'm just rushing through this. Most of this I've actually cut. I can't even remember if I've actually shown the die cutting part of the word boy, because I mean we've all seen that sort of thing before. All this blending and the die cutting's all been seen before. Just using a tissue there just to keep my fingers out of it, because I get into such a mess when I'm actually crafting. Obviously I'm enjoying myself. If you get into a mess, you're enjoying yourself. Okay, here I'm bringing in the die set that I'm using is called Cole's ABCs. It's a lawn fawn. Most of my inks, sorry, dies and stamp sets are actually a lawn fawn, although I haven't done that many videos with the lawn fawn, which is surprising because I've got most of them that I've got are actually lawn fawn. In fact, this might even be the first one that I've actually shown anything lawn fawn in it, other than a few inks. Anyway, just cutting it out now. This is just releasing it from the die. The background, I'm actually doing the background prior to actually colouring in the panda and the balloons, mainly because the moisture from the blending of the background might actually drag some of the colour from the balloons or the panda into the background, and that would look just horrible. So I haven't done that. Actually, as I've gone over the ink, the sentiment that I've actually stamped on there, I think some of the colour came out of that, even though this was actually done the day before. But I think the lawn fawn inks are certainly not colour fast, not colour fast, water fast. As soon as you hit them with water, they actually tend to reactivate, seems, even though this was actually stamped the day before. Okay, I'm just using the quickie glue pen to glue down the word boy. These letters are actually like concaved underneath after being die cut. Every die cut would be the same. It's just that because it's such a tiny little area, you'll see that I'm having a bit of trouble getting it to initially stick down, but only because it's hasn't been pushed down hard and hasn't been held there. These glue pens are very good glue pens. I was actually surprised when I've actually bought these. I bought the first one thinking, oh, maybe not, and then I went out and bought another two. They are pretty good. I'd actually use the block shortly, I think, to sit on that to sort of press it into place. This die set that I'm using is a relatively new one for me. I've only recently got it. The other die set that I've got with letters on it is actually quite large, and it just would not do for this card because the letters are quite huge in comparison. If you want to see those letters, just check it out. It's in one of my other videos, or actually two of the other videos, ones that I've done for Christmas. One in particular is the one with the cactus. Okay, just placing out the same three greens again, which is there again, Twisted Citron, which is the top one on the top there, well, and actually the bottom of the screen, sorry. Cracked Pistachio in the middle, and Lucky Clover, which is the deeper green one. Dampening the balloons and just colouring them in. I'm not doing anything special with these, just pretty much blocking it, and then I put a very, very small amount of shading on the side. I actually have done this same card using the traditional blue colours, but actually off the top of my head I couldn't tell you what colour blues I used. Just 3 different shades of blues on the balloons and on the word boy. Of course, I've used the same colours on the word on the die cut out boy. On the other one is what I've used on the balloons on the other one, so I can't remember what it was now. just 3 of the shades of the Distress inks. Just darkening them up a little bit, like a second coat. You'll notice also, again, there's no music in the background. I've had too many people complaining that it's actually distracting from what I'm saying, so I'm leaving the music out while I'm actually doing this video. There'll be just a little bit, probably a few seconds at the end. Just coming in with a little bit of shading there now. I think I'm doing just with the angle shader, the 1/4 inch angle shader brush. I find this brush is very, very good. These are, I think, Art Basic brushes, all these brushes that I use on this one. There's most of the brushes that I use are Art Basics actually. Black Soot and Hickory Smoke. This is to paint the panda bear. I'm putting out 3 things of it there, but I don't know that I actually needed it. Probably 2 would have been more than enough, and I probably wouldn't have needed that much of the Hickory Smoke. I actually end up doing just 2 coats, I think, over the black parts. I'm trying to make it quite dark without losing the eyes. I do 2 coats over everything. I also use on the pads of the feet, the inside of the ears, and the little toes. I actually use worn lipstick on those, which is actually the colour that after I actually got it, I was using picked raspberry before for those sort of areas on animals, but after I actually got the worn lipstick, I thought, well, that's a better colour to use. The other one was a bit sort of too brightly pink, and this one, the worn lipstick, is a more sort of fleshy toned colour, so that's what I've been using. I can remember about 28 years ago, I think, my son was actually 3 at the time, my oldest son. He's now 31 and a half, be 32 later this year. The local zoo here in Sydney called Taronga Park Zoo actually had the 2 pandas on loan from China, and because they were there, we'd never seen pandas before. We decided, I took my mother, actually, she was visiting from New Zealand at the time, and so I took my mother over there and we spent the day over at the zoo, and we got some very good, because my son was actually only 3 and in a pram, we actually got to be quite close to them. Most of the people had to go up a different way because they were just walking, but because we had the pram, we couldn't go up the steps and along where everyone else had to go, so we got to go really close, right up against the fence actually, and we got a very good view. And I got some lovely photos of these panda bears, some of them laying on their back eating their bamboo, other ones sort of walking around, or the other one walking around. There's only the 2 of them there at the time. I can't remember their names, Jing and something or other, but anyway, doing the second coat now, making it reasonably dark. It's not absolutely black, of course, but it is a very dark grey. The very first one of these that I actually did when I first got the stamp set, I was really disappointed in the way I did it. I don't know how I did it actually, whether I actually used the black or actually tried to avoid using the black, I don't know, but it just did not come out very well. It was just too light, and it just didn't, probably lighter than what the legs are there now, and it just did not look very good. But this one here now, that is sort of fairly dark, not really black, but as I said, quite dark grey, looks quite good, I thought, the way it's done in the end. Sorry about the spinning around and being partly off the top of the screen as well. It's quite difficult to actually keep it within that area that I'm supposed to be working in. There, I'm right off the screen there, sorry about that. I tend to forget where my lines are on my mat there, even though I've got it taped in. You can't see it's off screen, just above the top of the screen there, where the tape is that I'm supposed to keep the card within. But of course, get painting and I get carried away and forget that I'm filming, and well, I'm sure you know how it is. You sort of forget everything else around you, and you're just sort of lost in what you're doing. So later on, I also, which I don't show on screen, but the balloons, I actually go over the actual balloons with the Spectrum Noir clear pen. Oh, that's just bringing in the worn lipstick for the inside of the ears and the feet pads. Yeah, and I put a coat of the Spectrum Noir over the balloons, and on the wood boy I actually bring in a Sakura clear glaze pen and do over that. It looks similar to the if I was to do it with the glossy accents, but not quite as thick, and it dries a bit quicker as well because it's quite a thin coat. Just doing a little bit of well, I suppose you could call it shading on the white with the hickory smoke, just very small amount here. And there's that part of the panel done. I've just got to do the grass part now. And that's using mowed lawn to do the grass. The grass was originally stamped in the lawn fawn freshly cut grass, the green part of the stamping that was done there. But I'm doing this with the mowed lawn, painting in the mowed lawn. What I think of it, the sentiment that I've stamped on there, that came from the baby animal stamp set, the whole thing, and that one was actually done in the fish tank, the lawn fawn fish tank ink. And I think there's the panel completed. It's a relatively quick one to do. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, subscribe please, and if you really did like it, click liked. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye bye.